So this is one of a series of talks that we'll hopefully continue to have in future, where we will pick up a topic and we will basically just do a deep dive and uh, discussion and some question and answers revolving around a specific topic. So today's topic is Aurangzeb, the historical character. Uh, we will delve into Aurangzeb's life, his you know the person, his life, and how history was shaped around his time. So, okay, so for those of you who are, who don't know us, my name is Ketan, and I have with me my very good friend Chetan Beti, who is uh, who has a very deep interest in history in general, but uh, particularly the Mughal and Maratha side of history. He's done a lot of reading and research, and uh, uh, he's gone deep into it. So we'll talk about Aurangzeb, and hopefully it will be an interesting discussion where we learn some things that may not be that well known about this character. Okay, all right, Chetan. So let's get started. And how do you want to? So I'll probably, I'll interject with questions
Mm-hmm.
now and then. Um, so I was thinking, should we start with uh, the? Shall we follow his, life timeline, like his birth,
Mm-hmm.
around his time of his birth, and then start taking it from there? Should you want to
Yeah,
start from there?
that's, you know, as they say, where to begin. Uh,
Mm.
it's usually the best idea to start from the beginning.
Mhm,
But in this case, we'll make an exception.
mhm.
We'll start from the end. So,
Okay, interesting. All right.
so I want
Okay.
to share a presentation. Hang on, share settings. Right. Can you see this presentation?
Yes, yes, I can.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, let's start at the beginning. So this is his tomb.
Oh, you mean the
Uh,
end? Like
yes. So this is when I
his
visited
end?
him in 2010. This is the first time I visited this place near Aurangabad.
Mhm,
It's on
mhm,
the way from Aurangabad to Ellora actually. So when your rickshaw
mhm,
takes you or when your car takes you, it's maybe halfway between those two towns. And as you can see, it is a very simple tomb,
mhm,
and this is the probably at least the top three people in the world in his time. So his
mhm,
tomb is kind of as he wished to be, open to the air and no decorations as much as possible.
mhm.
This has
But
been the case for
what's
quite some time now. Yeah, go on.
why is what's with that white sheet all around?
I think that is something which you know people have done later on, and they maintain it. There is one guy here who kind of acts as a
Mhm.
caretaker for it and basically just asks for money when you come inside. Anyway, so I've gone there twice, so it's becoming
Uh-huh.
a little bit more tourist visited, but actually almost like it's like uh, maybe 1% of the traffic, maybe even 0.1% of the traffic which goes to Ellora goes to this place.
Mhm.
Anyway, this is a painting of the same place from 1850 by a British guy who was roaming around at that time,
Mhm.
and not very different. They even then they have erected some chabutara kind of thing, but still it was tried to the his wish was to maintain it open to the sky. So this, all of this, he was buried. He died in 1707. It kind of 1707, if anything, is a proper landmark year in when you look at Indian medieval history. Is the death of Aurangzeb,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a good point in history from which to start looking at Indian history. One you in
Why do
one
you?
thread.
What? Yeah. Why do you say that? What was so? Uh, what was so great? I mean, what was so big about that event? I mean, what?
Yeah, it was okay. Mm, this is um, kind of in retrospect, but
Hmm.
even
Yeah.
at that time, it was kind of a cataclysmic kind of almost a shockwave kind of thing. Even though he was very old, but it was almost like a if not a shockwave, then a very big kind of collective maybe sigh of relief across the empire or something. So it's like,
Hmm.
damn, and shock as well. It almost
Hmm.
looked like he was kind of uh, kind of spiritual person as well. So he is already almost 90, and it looked like he is going to
Hmm.
live on forever. So
Hmm.
and his vigor was still up almost till
Hmm.
the end. And
Hmm.
okay, so before 1707, for like almost 200 years, there was this Mughal Empire, and after that as well, um, some Muslim empires, at least in the north. After
Hmm.
1707 was when suddenly there was this, suddenly, or rather, that marked the event where the tide finally decidedly turned,
Hmm.
and this upstart uprising, almost a revolt, a non-stop revolt for 25 years, then uh, that resulted in the Marathas getting the confidence to go all the way up to Delhi and even beyond.
But the Marathas were gaining ground even before his death, right?
Correct. Yeah. So death, his death was preceded by 25 years almost of continuous, you know,
Hmm.
strife south of the Narmada. So if you see this map,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So where you see current, Mandu or something, that's on the Narmada. And
Hmm.
he most of the time he lived, in fact, near Ahmednagar or Bijapur or Golconda or Aurangabad and so on. Moved
Hmm.
about. Point is,
Hmm.
we can track his movements across his last 25 years of his life, and he was here, and finally the revolt took him, and he couldn't go back, and
Okay.
he came to
Right.
conquer
Okay.
Deccan.
Hmm. And he died
Hmm.
in that place, right?
Yeah, but now he's
Where
buried
his
there.
tomb is,
So this is not a
near
new
Aurangabad.
story.
Orang.
Like
Mhm.
there was one other guy called, I think he's called Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He also wanted to conquer Deccan properly, and he shifted his capital, I think, from Delhi, not Delhi, to Daulatabad, which is also incidentally near all of these places, right? Daulatabad Fort is a very impressive fort on the way from Aurangabad to um, Ellora.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Okay.
so yeah,
Carry on.
this
So,
is the
yeah.
extent of the Mughal Empire at his death on paper, basically. So all of these are
Okay.
the various regions. Notice it includes Kabul and Sindh, Multan, Lahore, Kashmir, all of current day Bangladesh as well, which is Dhaka,
Hmm.
and down all the way almost down till you know half of Tamil Nadu as well,
Parts of Tamil
as part
Nadu.
of the Golconda Empire.
Mhm.
Um, all right,
All right.
yeah, go
So,
on.
yeah.
I
Okay.
can't
So
hear
you
you. You
wanted
have
to?
muted yourself, I think.
I don't think so. Can you hear me? I'm not muted. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, dang it.
No, check your audio.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I was just saying that. Yeah, so go on. I think you were going somewhere from this point, right? So death of Aurangzeb.
Yeah.
Uh, so
So,
then what was the?
yes. So this
Mm,
is the kind of m-
mm.
kind of turning point, so to
I
say.
have
This
just one quick question here. Is this the maximum extent of
correct. That
empire
is
under?
that is another important point about this year. This is the time any Muslim empire reached the maximum extent over the landmass of India,
Okay.
and this is the almost the southmost that it came. There were raids even more south, but they were just raids in I think the 12th and 13th century, maybe 14th
Mhm,
century.
mhm,
But as an empire, this is the maximum extent of any empire. In fact, including I would say Ashok's empire or even British Empire. It's pretty
mhm,
impressive, and
mhm,
hence it is also another important year because the tide turns after this. Anyway,
mm.
so
Okay.
having said that, so this there's a scholar called Jadunath Sarkar. He lived some 100 years back, I think.
Mhm,
Maybe not 100 years back, 80 years back or whatnot. So anyway, in the early, I think he wrote this book in 1910 or 1920. So he describes Aurangzeb's life as a tragedy in 5 parts. So the first 40 years is, he says, steady and arduous self-training and preparation for the supreme office in the land. So it's which is what this presentation mostly covers, the first 40 years of his life. Not much is known about for his first 40 years basically, and what all
mhm,
he did. Then the second part is a year of contest for the throne. So there was this war of succession between his
mhm,
brothers. When
mhm,
we'll see what happened. Shah Jahan became sick and the brothers fought amongst themselves. So that was a year
mhm,
of contest. That's one part. Aurangzeb emerges as the emperor. Then 23 years of largely peaceful reign in northern India, in
mhm,
various capitals of
mhm,
northern India, as they say. He moved around. He even went to Kashmir once, I think Gwalior and so on.
mhm,
Then he is pulled down into the Deccan for possibly the third time in his life. Um, his son Muhammad Akbar rebels against him and joins the Rajputs
mhm,
first, and then from the Rajputs he is handed over to the Marathas, and that gives him an excuse as well to finally try to to make a proper effort to take Deccan. And yeah, within 8 years, he's annexed the two remaining Deccan sultanates like Bijapur and Golconda. They were big kingdoms, and they were annexed completely. And Sambhaji was also killed. So
mhm,
around uh, this time, which is I would say 1690, 1689. In 1689, all of this was done. There was no other challenge in the Deccan. The Maratha king is dead. Bijapur is
right.
completely annexed. Golconda as well. Yes,
Bijapur and Golconda were under who?
were independent kingdoms. So this map, it's a good question, and we'll go into this by this map. Okay, I wish I could make it bigger. Let's see. Mm, all right. So you see, this is the Mughal Empire, and this the one on the left is Bijapur. The one on the right is Golconda. Golconda is essentially current day Hyderabad. The
Mhm,
kingdom was also called Golconda. So these are two Shia Muslim ruled kingdoms. Okay, they came in an earlier wave from invaders from Persia. themselves. So they had deep, or rather, they had roots in Persian cities, the nobility over here in both of these kingdoms. And Aurangzeb, being a devout Sunni, he was not very happy with the situation. Also, as you can see, it's like on two big borders you have Shia kingdoms. One is Persia, which simply cannot be defeated, and on the other hand, there are these two kingdoms. Anyway, they were also in the way of him going, expanding into the entire Deccan. These two had to be taken. So just imagine, he comes down. The prince, by the way, Muhammad Sultan, he doesn't do anything much. Ultimately, he escapes to Persia and dies there. His tomb or whatever his dead place is somewhere in Persia. So anyway, we were talking about these two kingdoms. Yeah. So now you know a little bit more.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Okay, so they didn't present much resistance.
no, they presented a lot of good resistance, and their
Actually.
fall is a great story in itself, and which is not told much. Like the siege of
Mhm.
Bijapur was a big thing.
Okay.
Pretty cataclysmic. The reason Bijapur kind of is now just a small town, maybe, is possibly because it was destroyed so properly by Aurangzeb.
Mm. Mm.
Uh, Gol- Golconda has a you know Golconda also was very rich, and it ultimately included parts of the southern part of that whatever it's seen now, which is like Karnataka, Kolar minefields and everything. So they had
Mm.
lots of gold and diamond basically,
Mm.
and that was the source of its. Uh, in fact, at that time, I think most of the diamonds in the world were from Golconda only. It was the only diamond place. So hang
Mm.
on,
Mm.
I had somewhere a decent slide. Yeah, these are all Golconda diamonds. Kohinoor is one thing we know. This top left
Mm.
is Kohinoor.
Mm.
On the right is what is called the Regent. It is on Napoleon's sword. One of the big diamonds from Golconda. Then there is this, which is in the French crown. Was in the French crown rather, Sancy. And on the right, that scepter-looking thing, that's in Moscow. That was taken by Catherine the Great, and it has been in the Kremlin scepter. So these are all kind of world famous diamonds, all of them from one mine from Golconda.
Okay. The Russian story is a bit came as a bit of a surprise. I thought this was exclusively the Western Europeans who
No, it is
grabbed
just
on
like
this.
diamonds don't die, right? If you have a big diamond like this, it will go from person to person. So, for
Mm.
example, in the Russian case, it went to the Mughals first, then Nadir Shah plundered it in 1739. Then somebody called apparently Count Orlov got it, maybe possibly bought it even from Nadir Shah or whatever. And that's how it ended up in Russia.
Okay. Anyway, carry on. So let's go back to the death 1707 and
Right? So, yeah,
mm.
1707. We were in fact at 1689.
Oh, you were sorry. You were talking about the four parts or five parts, right?
Correct. Okay, let's go there. Yes. So that's where. So, and the fifth part after this, after all of this was annexed,
Mm.
but then his tragedy is all filled into that fifth part basically. So he fought very hard, but the Marathas simply refused to give up.
Mhm.
So mm, it's like you know he says the seeds that had been sown in the third stage of his life. Third stage of his life is called uh, that's when he was in North India, but throughout his empire he established certain anti-Hindu policies and whatnot.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he had anyway, so he had to gather their harvest in this period. Anyway, so the story begins at his birth. He was born in Gujarat, by the way. I think you knew that, right?
Yeah, I was aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ahmedabad, right? What present day Ahmedabad?
It's some place called Dohad in Gujarat. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's near Ahmedabad.
Mhm.
Anyway, so this couple, Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal, were like very prolific. She apparently died in her 14th childbirth attempt.
Mm.
And Aurangzeb, I think, was, I forget now, I think he was the sixth child or something,
No,
but
you
two.
six. You mentioned sixth here.
Mm,
Your slide mentioned sixth.
I see, yeah, slide mentioned six child, yeah. So earlier, at least two children were actually, they didn't survive to adulthood. They died before 1 year of age and somewhat.
Mm.
So only, so he had, so his brothers and all will think of later, but he had
Mm.
two sisters as well. Um,
Mm.
and one of them was pretty important. One of them was all of their elder, so she had a lot of respect in the household.
Mhm.
um, Anyway, so from interesting episode, which is that the during any Mughal rulers, Mughal emperor's reign, his sons were one of his biggest problems, like where to keep them, how to control them, because as soon as they get above even 17, 18 years of age, then they start to have plans of their own. And that, okay,
Mm.
how can I get my dad to somehow die, basically, or at least get more and more power
Mm.
for myself. And they were
Mm.
also, it's not hard to see because there were usually factions within the court as well, multiple. Like there's always,
Mhm.
for example, this Shia Sunni
Mm.
problem within the Mughal court as well. So it was not
Mm.
all Sunni. There was some Shia faction always as well, like Persian nobility as opposed to
Mm.
Turkish nobility. So this faction was there.
Mm.
Then there were Rajputs, there were other Hindu kingdoms here and there, and everybody used to align. It was like a complicated mess. And whenever a
Mm.
prince is there who is a little bit ambitious or can be controlled, then you have these factions giving him more confidence कि
Mm.
भाई तुम आगे बढ़ो, हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं. तो ऐसा
Mm.
टाइप का माहौल was very easy to create. Anyway,
Mhm.
so his dad, like Shah Jahan, had were kept in Jahangir's court, which is their grandfather's court in Lahore for a few years, like 4 years. Dara and Aurangzeb, two of his, sons,
Mhm.
just as safekeeping, quote unquote. कि मतलब if
So,
that time Shah Jahan was not the emperor, Jahangir is the emperor, and he's keeping his two grandsons with him for 4 years under house arrest, basically.
oh, you're saying that Shah Jahan is not the emperor
Yeah,
at this
at
point.
this time Jahangir, their grandfather, is the emperor. Aurangzeb's grandfather. Aurangzeb is 8 years old. His grandfather is emperor Jahangir. Okay,
I see. And the
and
capital is Lahore.
or rather, his sometimes these emperors move, maybe 1 year, maybe sometimes 4 years, or whatever. He
Mhm.
might be, I think at that time he might be even be having a campaign against Persia at that time.
Mm. Which is why his base was
He's
Lahore.
moved here. He's moved his court to Lahore. Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway,
so then Jahangir dies and sits.
Jahangir
Okay.
dies, Shah Jahan succeeds, and this painting is in a book called Padshah Nama. It is Shah Jahan's, kind of family album, what Shah Jahan created for himself, and he like got it hand painted, like maybe I don't know, 5 to 10 copies, maybe more, and sent it to all of these, emperors and rich people here and there. So there are some
Mhm.
copies available. Most of what I have
Mhm.
got is from the British copy, which is, available pretty nicely online. Anyway, so this shows
Mhm.
this green figure bowing down is Shah Jahan, I believe, or yeah, returning or rather just taking blessings from Jahangir. So it's like the first painting in Padsha Nama. So it's like
Mm.
father, yes, blessed his son sometime, so that then the next 2-3 paintings will be Shah Jahan's coronation and somewhat so on.
Mhm.
Anyway, coming back to Aurangzeb's story. So at 8 years of age, he is back to Agra, where his now proper education begins. This is another painting. Let's see it like this. Alright. So this is another painting which he got painted. These are his 3 sons, Dara, Shuja and Aurangzeb. The shortest guy is Aurangzeb. Both of these guys are elder to him.
Mhm.
Okay, one interesting episode. Aurangzeb fights an elephant. So what happens is
Mhm.
he is, I think, somewhere around 16 years of age, and
Mhm.
the one of the pastimes of the royal court, so to say, was you have 2 elephants and have them kind of get angry on each other. They both had mahouts, as you can see, but
Mhm.
push them into fighting each other as a form of entertainment sport, basically.
Mhm.
So anyway, one of the elephants got a little bit out of control and charged towards the royal gallery, so to say. And Aurangzeb very bravely went ahead and kind of challenged him, stopped him. So this was like a
Mhm.
major incident. It was seen by everybody, and it's like, boss, this is raw courage, and he
Mhm.
was the hero of that day. Anyway, a
Mhm.
painting was, it is kind of chronicled in
Mhm.
multiple places as well, that this incident was probably true. Anyway, so that is Aurangzeb here in the foreground against an elephant. There are other, like Shah Jahan is also shown top left. So usually has a halo around him, and
Mhm.
that other guy in the background is Dara. Maybe on the left side is Dara. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
2 of his other brothers are also shown.
Mhm.
Anyway, all right. Which brings us to his first governorship. So, एक minute. When he is like not very old, maybe just, so he was born in 1618 and now it's 1636. So that makes it 18
18.
years of age. At
18.
18, he's given the governorship of Deccan. It is not incidental. What happened was Shah Jahan was doing a big campaign in the Deccan, and he had taken Aurangzeb with him. So you see these red parts here.
Mhm.
So let's try. Okay, I'm not sure how well it is, but this part over here is Ahmednagar Kingdom. Okay,
Mhm.
this is Bijapur, and that is Golconda. So
Mhm.
Ahmednagar was mostly overrun during this campaign by Shah Jahan and his generals, and a
Taken from
compromise
whom?
was that taken from the Ahmednagar Sultanate. There was another Sultanate over there again.
Like, so again, like some Shia
Correct,
ruler,
correct, correct.
like
From the
Golconda.
earlier, invasions. Yes, from the almost the times of, you might say, not the Lodhis, but who is that guy जिसका पद्मावत मूवी बना है?
Dali.
No man, Abdali is much later.
Okay.
Anyway, I forget. One of those invaders. Um, his generals came down and conquered, and then it was like they never left, and they established kingdoms there. These are the remnants of those kingdoms. They have been around for, like, in some way
Mhm.
or form, for like 150
Mhm.
years or 200 years by now. So they're
Uh,
pretty well
it's
established.
Al- it, it's Alauddin Khilji you were
Khilji,
talking
etc.
about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, they have been
Mm.
around. So this, all of these parts, as you can see, they are mostly Maratha or Karnataka or Andhra parts right now, right? So the population was still that, and just the
Mm.
upper nobility was the ruling Muslim class. in all of these, they were mostly, allied one way or the other with some or the other Maratha chieftains or Karnataka chieftains as well, who were the real, workhorse. So essentially, it was just locals fighting against each other, but under, you know, some Muslim leadership. And then, of course, there were conversions as well. So there was some part of Muslim population as well by this time. But yeah. Anyway, so when Shah Jahan actually took over this Ahmednagar Sultanate, a lot of the Maratha chiefs were the ones who had to actually lose a lot of power as well, because they were holding up that Sultanate. One of the important one was Shivaji's father, who was Shahji Bhosle.
Okay.
Shahji
I see.
Bhosle was an important kind of, lord, so to say, or at least a Musalman in Ahmednagar Sultanate, which was kind of taken over after a lot of fight by Shah Jahan. Once that is done, he reached a settlement with Bijapur, saying, Bijapur तुम थोड़ा आधा संभालो इसका, हम लोग ऊपर संभालते हैं. So they reached some kind of a settlement, and a new boundary of the Mughal Empire was made, like extended a little bit south into the Deccan. And there Shah Jahan said to Aurangzeb, 18-year-old Aurangzeb, देख भाई मैंने इतना किया, अभी तू आगे बढ़ा. वो आई थिंक तो उसका लाइफ लॉन्ग प्रोजेक्ट, उसके सीड डाल दिया था वहाँ पे. And that is his first governorship. He stayed there for 8 years, and he was still kind of a 18-year-old young man. Spent a lot of still time under more older men who were like his guides and confidants of his father, etc. Anyway, during these 8 years, many things happened. Some smaller kingdoms
By
here
8
and
years, you mean
there.
like
16.
years? You mean like
Hmm.
uh, between like when he comes there and 8 years from that
8 years
point.
from then, yeah. So his governorship,
So
first
from
governorship, lasted for 8 years in
okay,
Deccan.
36,
So he was
16,
usually in
36 or
Burhanpur. Burhanpur is like a city on the Narmada. Is it on the Narmada? I think it's on the Tapi. Hang on. It's on the Tapi. It's right in the bank of this red shaded region on the top here. Anyway,
Okay.
so one interesting thing happened there, which is that he met one woman and fell in love with her. Hirabai Zainabadi in Burhanpur. There was some relation, not relation, some relations, households maid or some such, koi to girl in the house. Anyway, so there was an episode of some months when he was like, I want nothing else, kind of. He was fully head over heels in love with her. It didn't go anywhere though. The Hirabai died. I don't think there is any mystery around her, but anyway, that episode ended with her death. Anyway, all during this time, when Aurangzeb was down below in the south, in the Deccan, Dara and Shah Jahan are in Agra and Delhi and maybe other northern capitals, but mostly in Agra. And Dara is the anointed heir, like Shah Jahan's favorite son, and he is being groomed to be the emperor. Okay. So all of this, but Aurangzeb doesn't like it. I mean, of course, Aurangzeb feels he is more capable, and there is a lot of rivalry between Dara and Aurangzeb, and there are there is credible he had credible what you might say annoyances or problems with Dara, because Dara used to communicate with these Deccan Sultanates, for example, and spoil Aurangzeb's plans against them. For example, Aurangzeb ultimately, what Aurangzeb really wants to do is take over whatever is left of the land there is. I mean, that is express purpose of any empire. So anyway, Dara and then through Dara, Shah Jahan also used to take his elder son's side, and Aurangzeb throughout his life was like, the fuck, dude, Why I give you so much and still it is not enough? Still you side with the. That is the story. So during this time, there are some things. He really got mad, and there was one episode when I think Jahanara, their elder sister.
Just hold on. You froze up for a few seconds, so
Oh,
just
okay.
repeat what you just said.
Uh,
Uh, just for a few
no, I'm
seconds,
just. I
just
was
the
just
last.
concluding, saying yeah, this the rivalry between Dara and Aurangzeb was kind of
Mm,
deep, and it continued for like 20 years or so, and it, I think, shaped a lot of his uh, future actions as well. One episode also stands out, which is that he went. So what happened was their elder sister Jahanara. She her robe caught fire in the palace. Like there were candles all around, right? And she was very heavily burnt, and she was like bedridden for a few months, but she lived. So
mhm.
during that time,
Oh, mhm,
Aurangzeb went to see her in Agra, and there he was there
mhm,
for like he has been down here for down in the Deccan for few years. So let me go to Agra. Agra गया था वो. And
mhm,
he's also officially complaint करने भी गया था कि क्या चल रहा है, कि
mm,
मैं
mm,
कुछ भी करता हूँ तो ये बंदा वहाँ से कुछ तो अलग खेल खेलता है. मतलब इट्स लाइक पॉलिटिक्स,
mm,
राइट? डोंट लेट
mm,
योर brother get too popular and win too many
mm,
things.
mm,
एंड फॉर्मल
mm,
कंप्लेंट करने भी गया था. जहानारा का ये एक्सीडेंट हो गया, एंड ही थॉट ओके दिस इज़ अ गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी टू गो टू आगरा एंड एक्चुअली confront these guys. So
mm,
anyway, goes there. Like I think things went a little bit sour, and his Aurangzeb is like, thoda. I imagine scenes must have happened. He said, "No, I give up. My, I'm not governor of Deccan anymore. I don't want to be governor only." It's
mm,
like basically family drama
mm,
happened there when
mm,
all of these three big
mm,
personalities are within one palace.
mm,
Anyway, finally, who brought all of these guys, hot-headed people together was Jahanara. She got better slowly, and it's like, nahi,
mm,
Sula, Shanti Rakho,
mm,
eldest
mm,
daughter. Both the guys
mm,
had some respect for her. So
mm,
anyway, he was
mm,
made governor of Gujarat then. Chalo, jao. A very rich province, largely कुछ peaceful है, and
mm,
Surat को basically it's one of the main things was the port in Surat, and trade routes खुला रखना है. You
mm,
and it's also pretty rich, chillax over
mm,
there. So
mm.
went to Gujarat after that.
At this point, just
Hmm.
a quick pause.
Yeah,
You want to paint the character of Darashiko in some more detail, if
yeah.
at this
Actually,
point,
that's a good point. Yes, yes.
because
Darashiko.
from what I have,
Mm-hmm.
sorry,
No, go
because
on.
from what I have read and known, the character was quite interesting in the sense that and contrasting to Aurangzeb in important ways, like particularly his uh, his inclination towards scholarly kind of
Yeah,
pursuits, and his views about religion and how he looked at you know uh,
very much. He was trying
so
to
yeah,
be
you
his,
want
I think, I don't know, grandfather. Anyway, he was following Akbar's
to just
footsteps a little bit.
yeah, sort of, that's the picture I had. You want to just talk a little bit more
Yeah,
about Darashiko?
yeah, we should actually. A very important figure. So he was more of a, what you might say, a scholarly person,
Mm-hmm.
and very, he, in fact, I think there is a translation
Yeah,
of
that's what that's the exact thought I had. So
Mahabharata or something attributed to
yes,
Dara,
yes. So he
which is kind of
learned
incredible.
like he spent time.
Yeah.
He learned Sanskrit, and read. He actually studied
Hmm.
Sanskrit texts and all. He's did that kind of.
Yeah,
stuff,
I'm
right?
not sure if he
And
learned
he really like,
Sanskrit, but at least he had Sanskrit scholars around him, and at least so he was on the way
yeah.
proper to try to integrate kind of all religions as well. So not only Hindu and Muslim. So
Mhm.
thinking of some common ways in which to tell some story which makes sense.
Mhm.
That was one
Mhm.
exploit. The other also, though, that because he spent most of his time in the palace and in the capital cities usually,
Mhm.
he was a bit not he was a bit spoilt as well in some ways. If you
Mhm.
lead this
Mhm.
kind of almost from the get go, you are first of all told that you will be the emperor most likely,
Mhm. Mhm.
and okay, scholarly pursuits. So the other kind of more um, the running about of running an empire is was not considered too highly by him.
Mhm.
And he was not a very good general also, so he's not a very good
Mhm.
leader of men, and he was
Mhm.
kind of a little bit easy to manipulate once you get to know him. So
Mhm.
courtiers around
Mhm.
him, etc., try to get their way, become
Mhm.
a friend of Dara, then you have leverage in the court of Delhi, right?
Mhm.
So that was
Mhm.
a game played
Mhm.
multiple times. So it
Mhm.
was very frustrating for Aurangzeb, who was his own man very much, and he was a great leader of men, and
Mhm.
so and he used to he used to know, okay, things are what they are, and things are tough as well, and I'm here
Mhm.
far away. Most of the times he is far away, and Dara is at the court near Shah Jahan.
Mhm.
So this was always a problem.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah,
Okay,
Dara.
let's. Mhm.
Anyway, there is an interesting book called Kitne nahi, Partitions, I think it's called. It's a little bit of a random book, but I read it
Mhm.
some maybe 20 years back or so. It talks about an imagined, history where Dara became the
Mhm. Like
emperor, and some
counterfactual
kind of, or
kind of.
rather, history talking to
Mhm.
itself, saying, "Oh, this would have happened." And some a little bit deranged book, but it is not bad. I mean,
Mhm. Mhm.
anyway, let's come
Okay,
back. He's now the governor of Gujarat.
Gujarat. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, Gujarat, one of the richest provinces, trade routes, etc. We talked about. So when he was there only for, like, as you can see, just 2 years, Feb 1645 to Jan
Mhm.
1647.
Mhm.
Uh, Minor things, quickly, ekdam, whatever niggling problems were in the state was like within a few months he had got them under control. Very able. Basically, I
Mhm.
think Aurangzeb used to get good generals and good, administrators under him, so that he can do other
Mhm.
stuff. And he's a good administrator as well. This
Mhm.
painting, by the way, on the other hand, is not from the Padshah Nama. It's from Akbar's time. This is from the Akbar
Mhm.
Nama, so to say, and it shows
Mhm.
Akbar here on the black horse entering. This is the city of Surat gates.
Mhm.
So Akbar is the one who conquered Surat. So a long time back. Anyway, Shah Jahan, by the way, within 2 years he thought that Aurangzeb is, Gujarat is too simple a job for Aurangzeb, and we should give him more challenging things. And he was sent off and
Just hold
made.
on, hold on.
Yes, yes.
Just 1 second, hold on. I need a quick short interruption. Just give me one. Okay, sorry about that. All right,
No
let's
problem.
continue. Mhm.
Okay, where yeah, so Shah Jahan sent him off to be governor of Balkh, far in the north
Where's that?
of the Mughal Empire. Yeah, so let's see where is Balkh. Balkh is here. So you see, these are the Punjab. You can see Punjab right in the center over here near
mm,
Lahore, Agra, Delhi. So orient yourself, and Kabul is shown, and this
mm,
region, this kind of low-lying region, so to, or rather plateau most likely, is
mm,
Balkh.
mm.
So it's out there. Matlab, it's like current day, I don't know, Kazakhstan or Turkmenistan or some such country,
Or beyond
and
present day Afghanistan, huh?
beyond present day Afghanistan. Yes. So,
I
for
see.
example, Kabul is very much a part of the Mughal Empire at this time. You have to understand, and Kabul is like
Mm,
public. You know, the emperor used to come here, Kabul, many times. So,
mm.
uh, you see the city Samarkand on the top here,
Yeah, that is Uzbekistan, right?
right? I
Is it
think so.
Uzbek?
Right, current day.
Mm,
But Samarkand was the capital of Timur, and to whom Taimur basically,
mm.
and to whom all of these Mughals traced ancestry. They used to call themselves Taimur ke ancestors, and we are Taimur's ancestors who are ruling India.
Descendants.
Descendants. Sorry, Taimur was their ancestor, and his capital was Samarkand, and it was always
Mhm,
a wish of all Mughal emperors mostly to take Samarkand as well and incorporate into the empire. So
mhm,
anyway, Shah
mhm,
Jahan had this wish as well. Aurangzeb was sent. He was made governor of this Kabul and northern regions. Balkh was just a this part was never really a very proper territory of Mughal empire. Always contested with the Bukhara kingdom, which was which was ruled from the city of Bukhara. Uh, anyway, so before Aurangzeb was sent, actually Murad was sent, another son, and his campaign went ahead. They actually went all the way up till Balkh, but Murad, most of his life had actually been spent, I believe, in Gujarat or maybe Rajputana. I'm not sure. But he was so frustrated with this hard life that he gave up in winter. And he gave up his entire, army, which was like 30,000 strong or something. And he himself ran all the way back to India. And and saying ki mera bas ho gaya. I can't do all of this crap. Like, I want an easier
mhm,
life, basically. It's like this is too hard.
mhm,
And he abandoned his troops there. So immediately Aurangzeb was कि भाई इसको संभालो. So Aurangzeb went with some more fresh troops. By the way, most of these troops which used to go were actually Rajput troops. So
mhm.
they were basically uh, not all of them, but a large portion of them were essentially some or the other house of the Rajputs. In this case, it was Maharaja, I think, Jai Singh, who is from Jodhpur, if I'm not wrong. So anyway, the Jodhpur king's army also went up there. They were like closely allied with the Mughals. Anyway, so Aurangzeb went ahead 1647 campaign. So I'll just read this thing. Shah Jahan dreamed of recovering Samarkand, the ancestral Timurid homeland. Nazir Muhammad Khan, the king of the vast kingdom of Bukhara, was weak and incompetent. When rebellions broke out in various of Bukhara's provinces, Shah Jahan seized the chance. A first force under Murad Baksh captured Balkh in July 1646, but Murad abandoned his command, leaving a winter garrison stranded. In January 1647, Aurangzeb, 29 years old, was given governorship and marched north from Kabul with 35,000 troops. He shattered the Uzbek ambush in the Hindu Kush defiles at Dera-e-Gaz, entering Balkh on 25th May, then swept northwest to rout Subhan Kuli's forces at Akcha, 1st to 7th of June. The Subhan Kuli guy was actually a very important guy at that time. He was one of the right hand mans of this emperor or king who was there in Bukhara. Anyway, yet the position was hopeless. Some 120,000 Uzbek horsemen refused pitch battle and raided supply lines. So these were like guerrilla warfare. They are not going to fight a Mughal army, but they'll harass them all the time. This is not a country which you can just hold against guerrilla warfare. Um, Anyway, the province yielded almost no revenue. Senior commanders secretly dragged their feet. A compromise was finally reached, and Balkh was surrendered on 1st October back to the Bukhara kingdom. और कुछ तो ऐसा random compromising, oh, you will pay us some money and you will be okay. You will बीच में we will have our
Have some title and
title, something like that. Anyway, a retreat through the Ghazniak Pass was brutal. The rear guard crossed in a blizzard. The last man reached Kabul on 10th November. 4 crore rupees, 5,000 lives, and nothing gained. This was his Balkh adventure. So, like when we think about Mughal Empire, we don't think about places so far away as well. So this was Aurangzeb going in 1647, and being at one interesting episode, by the way. During one of these battles in this Akcha, there were many, it went on for a few days. In one of the days, there is an episode where I think these Uzbek people saw this Aurangzeb guy calmly spreading his, prayer cloth and starting to pray in the middle of the battlefield. Because he knew that these guys are also Muslims and we are also Muslims. इन लोग इतना तो respect करेगा. Anyway, so it's like the sight of him like unnerved the Uzbek people as well. It's like इसको कैसे हराएंगे हम लोग. But anyway, he went back. He was tried to push boundaries everywhere. Aurangzeb is always trying to be. He was in fact thinking that if I take Samarkand, it can be something else altogether. But it was like hopeless territory to go and take. Anyway, all this time, by the way, Shah Jahan is like, dude, you failed here also. Tera, मतलब there is some disappointment. Father के wishes को क्या बोलते हैं रियलिटी में कन्वर्ट नहीं कर सका. ये टाइप का डिसअपॉइंटमेंट भी है. All this is in my imagination though. Anyway, this happened in 1647, and then we come to him. He was made governor of Multan and Sindh. Multan is out here in Punjab, southern part of Punjab. Sindh is further down north of Gujarat, and in the Indus is the main river around it, so it's called Sindh. Anyway, this the purpose of this entire thing was that he has to take Kandahar. Kandahar has a very interesting history. So this is a good time to actually pause. We have traveled throughout his young age, and now he is nearing his. He's in his 30s. He's already been to Deccan for many years. He's been to Gujarat. He had this very interesting Balkh campaign, and now he's being made governor of Multan and Sindh with almost one express purpose: to take back Kandahar, which has fallen some years back to Persia.
One question here. Okay, so Persia and the Mughal Empire are neighbors, right? During
Correct.
this
Period. Yes.
pretty much, I guess, throughout most of that period, right?
Yes.
So was this frontier like peaceful, or was it always like, was it contested and fighting happening between these two? Like,
So no, it. Okay, so the answer is again it depends across 200-300 years of constant boundary, but nothing, almost nothing epitomizes the contestedness of that boundary than one single fort, Kandahar.
okay.
So as you can see, it's a strategic fort, and people say that Kandahar has had a fortified human settlement almost for 5,000 years. like into prehistory, there always has
Mm-hmm.
been a Kandahar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's anyway the current name at that time. Kandahar was a huge fort, very big stone walls around it, and so on. Some very
Mm-hmm.
few remnants of that those original stone walls are still there, because the outer stone wall apparently was completely destroyed by one of the rulers during 1800s or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, still the inner citadel itself is also very impressive, which you can see today.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Kandahar has been changing hands throughout these past 100 to 150 years multiple times between Persia and Mughal. For 10 years it
Mm-hmm.
will go here, for another 20 years it will go there, and sometimes, and lot of fighting between these two. So in the most recent time, it was in Shah Jahan's time, it was actually bought almost by giving bribes to the governor, or rather the keeper of Kandahar, and they
Mm-hmm.
got it from him. I don't know. Yeah, this is a painting which shows these these are some generals on the horseback from Shah Jahan, and on the left are these people offering the keys to the fort. There's a key he is holding up and so on. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, what had happened after that incident? This was some time back. This taking over by Shah Jahan's generals. Then after I think another 10 years or so, Kandahar was again militarily won back by Persia, and
Mm-hmm.
then prestige demanded that Kandahar has to be taken back. So between between 1648 and 1651, a total of 3 attempts were made by Mughals, by Shah Jahan, very seriously. So first he sent Aurangzeb, and this was I think in 1648 or something. This slide has become too less, but anyway, I think it is 1648. Went there, siege. Kandahar has a moat as well, so, and they had gone across so many passes and so on. It's not very easy to first of all reach that place with a invading force. So they had not taken very heavy artillery, in the sense big cannons. So they were all smaller caliber cannons, which was not good against Kandahar's fort walls. And after a few, like almost like I think 5 or 6 months of siege, they had to retreat, come back, and but all was not lost. In the this time next year, okay, let's prepare another force and go back. So after 2 years they went back. I think it was in 51, maybe less, 49 or something. Anyway, Aurangzeb again uh, went back, this time with better cannon, more marksmen, and they had a plan to drain the moat, saying ki there is this moat, we can't reach further, we can't put our siege ladders and whatnot, we got to drain the moat. For draining the moat you have to go close to it and then start digging, maybe underground and whatnot. The marksmen, Afghan marksmen, even today by the way, the Afghan marksmen from were exceptionally good at getting, they were the best, one of the best marksmen around at that time. And with the long rifles at that time, this these guns are almost the beginning of gunpowder level era. In this time, maybe 100 years have passed since gunpowder has been around, and these guns are like very very long, and they take like maybe 1 minute per reload kind of thing. Anyway, extremely good marksmen, and they used to take out these diggers and whoever is trying to do any civil work, and these were एक एक को, it was very hard, and for months and all you try to drain the ditch. But so anyway, covering fire, so Rajput people or Indian soldiers would cover fire देने का, and they were exceptionally bad also. This was also noted. The Indians don't know how to shoot well. That was the general joke in Persia. Don't worry about it. Mughals can only take Kandahar by gold, not by the sword. Don't worry. So this became a running joke. Aurangzeb, second siege also failed. So all of this drama happened. Nothing can be done against the fort. Came back. So he is like, Shah Jahan is like frustrated. Shah Jahan has moved his capital to Kabul to, like, be closer to the action and oversee and quick messages and whatnot. That also was another factor, that Shah Jahan's general was also alongside Aurangzeb, and he used to have his own plans because his master is Shah Jahan, and Shah Jahan is remotely controlling one close asset here. Aurangzeb is again like, he has political problems running the siege. Yeah. After all of those frustrations, Aurangzeb but was redeemed because then Dara was sent by Shah Jahan. कि दारा भाई तू जा, or like even bigger force, more resources, just take Kandahar. Dara also failed. Third time, 3 attempts in almost as many years against one fort, and the Mughals could not take it. Severe loss of prestige in entire Asia. Yeah, so the Persian Shah is like, तुमसे ना हो पाएगा बाबू, तुम रहो वहाँ पे. And that happened actually, and it was like the Delhi court and Agra court used to be very frightened throughout the next 150 years of any rumors of like the Persian invasion. What if the Persians come? Don't worry. The threat was always hanging. It ultimately happened, by the way, in what was it, 1751 or something, when Nadir Shah came, right? Almost 100 years later though. Nadir Shah came and looted Delhi and Agra and so on. Anyway, so this is the case.
Okay.
Anyway, all
Nadir
of
Shah
this,
was
yeah, Nadir Shah was the Persian
the
Shah.
Persian. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's how Kohinoor ended up with him, by the way. Right?
Okay.
Anyway, Kandahar. So Kandahar is decidedly now part of the Persian Empire, and it remained so. Interestingly, because Kandahar has been, part of the Mughal Empire as well as the Persian Empire. Now, interesting segue. Like almost, 100 years, little bit more than 100 years later, these Maratha generals went there, right? Raghuba, Raghunath Rao, who later on became Peshwa as well. He's the younger brother, son of Bajirao, one of the younger sons of Bajirao, and other generals who went there all the way till Peshawar and further to Attock. And like, there is a letter which comes back from there, Attock, to Peshwa in Pune, all the way down, saying ki basically ki let's take Kandahar also na. Aurangzeb ke time pe it was that Kandahar was always part of Mughal Empire, or Alamgir ke time pe he had almost taken it. Now we are here, let us put Kandahar as our outpost of Hindustan. We will control it. So Kandahar came back into the conversation at that time in the Indian population. Okay. Anyway, that's one
What
reference.
happened? What came of that though?
Nothing came of it. It came back. Nothing. They didn't go further than Attock.
Okay.
But it was just ambitious talk, saying now there is nothing. In 1750, the Marathas were so much, क्या बोलेंगे, confident that now it's like we'll directly hold the border with Persia, and Pune is the capital. Anyway, this is the fort Kandahar in 1850. These are the inner walls, and this incidentally is also Indian soldiers who are again fighting a war in Afghanistan for the British this time. These are mostly क्या बोलेंगे, सिपाही. Okay, we went over this. First expedition 1649, second 52, third 53. Anyway, all of these 3 years, like, it was pretty bad. one empire fighting against another and failing 3 times consecutively. Anyway, all of this, after this, like Shah Jahan also said, bas ho gaya, no Kandahar. Then he was made governor of Deccan again, and this time it was his second governorship of Deccan. Let's go back to the original project. So there he spotted this guy called Murshid Quli Khan. Is also, his career is also tied up with Aurangzeb somewhat. He's a very able administrator, land revenue reforms. So Deccan was, even now actually, Deccan has always been a hard land to farm. Hilly hai, soil is sometimes hard and slopey and this and that. You've seen it. It's like very, without mechanized agriculture, it's very hard. Even now it is done mostly by hand. So at that time it was even worse. So who ownership kiska hai, who is basically emperor, or rather the governor is interested in revenue. Ki whole of Deccan, we've taken up all of Ahmednagar, Sultanate, थोड़ा बहुत बीजापुर भी है, ये है. So much land is there. Revenue कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा है. In fact, negative revenue होता था. Just to maintain the empire and take this. Aurangzeb used to ask Shah Jahan, saying, give me some more troops, give me some more, I have to carry out these and quieten these rebels and whatnot. Shah Jahan is like, are you crazy? And this is another point of contention. You have such a big thing, do something about it. Anyway, he established decent, this guy Murshid Quli Khan, land and revenue reforms persistently. Some small kingdoms were annexed. This Jawar is actually in Thane district, north of Thane district. Moving on. Okay. Then during this second governorship, which is again 6 years, see 1652 to 1658, he goes ahead and makes a move against Golconda. Thinking, let's take Golconda. Golconda has an interesting character. Its king is a little bit weak, or maybe young, I think, and this guy called Mir Jumla is becoming really powerful in the Golconda court. And Mir Jumla was a very enterprising general as well, great leader of men. Again, he carried out his campaign to extend his kingdom, almost his personal kingdom, down back into regions of what is current day Kolar and Bangalore and all along the coast and so on. So original Golconda was up north, but he got a lot of the rich regions, like minerally rich, so a lot of gold and diamonds and whatnot. So people used to say he's the richest man in the kingdom, including Hindustan was the richest man. He has mountains of gold. That kind of legend had spread about Mir Jumla. Okay, he's made it. But his so his son, apparently Mir Jumla's son, was in the court in Golconda, and he did some mischief or something, because he was like, बड़े बाप का बेटा है और तुम लोग गोलकोंडा एम्पायर मीर जुमला की वजह से और उसका काबिलियत की वजह से चल रहा है. तो द सन इज नॉट दैट एनलाइटेंड. कुछ तो ही मैनेजेस टू इंसल्ट द कोर्ट एंड in some very severe way, so he's put under house arrest or something. That son is arrested by the Golconda king, and political incident हो जाता है. So Aurangzeb is sitting close by, boss कुछ तो हिल रहा है, let me do something about it. So Aurangzeb takes the thing कि let's annex Golconda. Golconda here is basically Hyderabad. Okay, तो बीजापुर के साथ थोड़ा सुलह करके रखा है थोड़ी देर के लिए. And let me take Golconda. So he sends, Aurangzeb also has his son at this time called Muhammad Sultan, a young son. Yes, कि तुम जाओ. And there is a lot of subterfuge also. All of this is happening. Okay, the situation is very fluid in Hyderabad court, Golconda court. कि Mir Jumla is also making moves. Aurangzeb is trying to he's amassed an army at the borders and so on. दोनों भी चेक में रखा है. देन मीर जुमला देन सेंड्स अ मैसेज टू दारा शिको एंड शाहजहां कि बॉस लेट्स डू समथिंग, I'll bring Golconda to you, you make me the governor of whatever this that, कुछ तो औरंगजेब का क्या करने का. He wants glory, he wants to be the person who took Golconda, right? So it's like, तुम मत करो ऐसा. Anyway, a lot of things happen there. Ultimately all these letters have to flow through Deccan, right? So one letter came from Shah Jahan saying ruko, like as an official order saying ki don't invade Golconda yet, but Aurangzeb didn't forward it ahead. Aurangzeb got the letter, थोड़े दिनों के लिए वहीं पे रखा. Then there was something like, okay, you can do this much action against Golconda. Another letter came. हाँ अभी दोनों लेटर को एक साथ भेजो, एक ही लेटर दिखाओ. Some such subterfuge was done. And anyway, it's like, you're too far away, Dad. What are you going to do? I'm here at the action. This is like, you are 1,000 kilometers away. Anyway, Aurangzeb takes upon himself, invades, tells his son to go ahead. So Muhammad Sultan is his son. He goes ahead in a, doesn't meet much opposition, takes Hyderabad. And for I think couple of days or maybe even 3 days, Hyderabad is looted. So there is a big, kind of incident there. The city has seen proper, what you might call, sacking as well. So the sack of Hyderabad happens. Muhammad Sultan kind of occupies Hyderabad, and then after some days Aurangzeb arrives with more troops. कि क्या सिचुएशन क्या है. तो मोहम्मद सुल्तान says that we've taken up the city, but the nobility and the court has fled to Golconda. Golconda is a fort which is near to Hyderabad, some 20 kilometers away, and it's a hill fort, like very nicely fortified and so on. तो औरंगजेब बोलता तू यहाँ पे क्या कर रहा है, चल फिर, Golconda is the place, we have to extinguish the kingdom. Then they both go, siege was laid. Okay, nobody is escaping anywhere, we'll take Golconda this time. Then everything is going well, and then one news comes that Shah Jahan is sick. Everything changes. Then things start to happen. So this is 57, late 56 and so on. Shah Jahan is ill, and he really was sick, and that all of his sons then started to move, and one by one everyone said that I am the emperor, and then march towards Delhi and take it. So that was the war of succession. This is Murad, one early painting of him. He was then the governor of Gujarat at this time when the war of succession broke out. This is Shah Shuja, who was the governor of Bengal at that time. Bengal means current day Bihar, West Bengal and Bangladesh. So very rich, very fertile, very big province. This is Dara. We have other photos of him, but this was young Dara. Anyway, and now we have this war of succession. Anyway, I think we have talked quite a bit. What do you say?
Yeah, I think we can close it here and continue in a separate episode.
Correct.